I want to welcome you to another installment of Dealing for Keys. This was a series that I started recently in which I actually took some comics from my collection, sold them, and transformed them into a really solid copy of Fantastic Four issue number 52, the first appearance of the Black Panther. And this book had been on my radar since about 2018, but eluded me for several different reasons. But thanks to some wheeling and dealing, I was able to make some magic happen and secure a copy for myself. Now I'm going to turn my attention to an even bigger key, and with some luck I'll be able to score that book. If you are curious as to what I'm going to go after and how I'm going to get there, I want to encourage you to stay tuned for the video. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel for some reason or another, I want to encourage you to do that as well. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and that way you won't miss any of the content that comes out from the channel. Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. As I mentioned in that brief intro, I was able to secure a really awesome copy of Fantastic Four issue number 52, albeit a little bit lower grade than what I wanted. The price for this book was really fantastic, and I was able to take a lot of copies of Spawn and sub-Spawn titles, along with some Batman adventure books and other books, and transform them into this key that I've had my eyes on since 2018. And so now I want to continue that process. I want to continue the process of showing you all what I go through to acquire some of these comics. And this is something that I haven't necessarily done in the past. Document the process, that is, in which I tell you what I want and I show you the process to get it, and then I actually acquire that book. Historically, I tell you what I want and then I show you the book. I haven't necessarily shown the middle part, in which I provide you with a lot of the details on how much money I'm spending, how much I'm selling things for, how much I'm buying things for. I've steered away from that, but in the instance for this series, I'm going to continue providing you with that information. So as I alluded to in the intro, I have set my sights on Incredible Hulk issue number 1. And this book is from 1962. It was written by the wonderfully talented Stan Lee and penciled by Jack King Kirby. And this too is a book that I've had my eyes on for a while, and we're going to go after it. So I've already, to some degree or another, started down this path. And what I mean by that is I've been saving my money, and I have a healthy amount of money set aside for this book already, but we are going to do some wheeling and dealing. The first deal that is on the table is for some additional Spawn and Curse of Spawn books. I've already secured a buyer for these books, and I'm basically going to sell about 83 copies of those titles for roughly $299. And that does not include any of the shipping costs. That is completely covered by the buyer. But this first deal is going to put me down the path of hopefully acquiring this Hulk book in, I don't even know how long it's going to take me, but we are going to get after it. And so I'm actually going to head right now to execute this deal. And again, I've kind of put the deal in place, but it has not been executed. So we're going to do that hopefully right now.
All right, let's see what happens with this. Fingers crossed that we can make this deal and I can get ready to ship these books out.
So this project, this book, really represents a few different things for me. On one hand, this book represents the very first appearance of an important Marvel character, that being Incredible Hulk. This book also represents a wonderful creative effort by Jack Kirby and by Stan Lee. So in and of itself, the book is incredibly special. On the other hand, this book and me being able to get it actually allows me to put a capstone on an overarching goal that I've had for my collection for more than 3 years. Secretly, this has been a project that I've been working on in the background. One of the things that I've done for my collection is I've always had goals because I think that goals give me focus and I'm much more likely to achieve those goals when I have focus. So I set a goal for myself of basically having every Amazing Spider-Man comic out there from issue number 1 all the way through the present day. I achieved that goal. Another goal that I set for myself, which is related to the first, was to basically have the first appearance of Spider-Man Peter Parker, that being Amazing Fantasy 15. I achieved that goal. But what I've also been working towards is trying to have the best Silver Age collection that I possibly could. And that goal is really represented by several different books. It's represented by ASM 1, Amazing Fantasy 15, but it's also Fantastic Four issue number 1, X-Men issue number 1, Daredevil issue number 1, Fantastic Four Galactus trilogy, right? Issues 48, 49, and 50. There are a set of books in my mind that represent what a Silver Age collection should be. And my books aren't all high grade, but they are represented in the collection. And so Hulk issue number 1 is the last missing component of what constitutes for me a solid Silver Age collection. And a lot of people out there would say, well, what about Avengers issue number 1? And what about this? And what about that? I think that all of those books are great, but for me, those books aren't on the table. And that doesn't mean that I won't buy them. It just means that for me, those are not, in my mind, what constitutes a great Silver Age collection. And that's, again, one of the great things about this hobby is that we all get to pick and choose what it is that works for us, and then we can do that thing that makes us happy. And again, I may go out and buy Journey into Mystery, the various keys from that. I may go out and buy more Fantastic Four keys, and those books will be all great for the personal collection. But Hulk issue number 1 and some of the others that I've mentioned as part of this goal is what represents to me a really great collection. And so it's important for people to know why I'm doing this. It's important for people to know that this also isn't the end of me collecting comics. I'm going to continue collecting comics. There's still a lot of books that I want to get. There's still a lot of books that I want to upgrade and add to the collection. And I will certainly do those things. But for right now, that focus is on Hulk issue number 1. And I'm very hopeful that I'm going to be able to do some wheeling and dealing to be able to make that magic happen. So in a relatively short period of time, I've actually made some awesome progress. And I've made progress through some deals that I've put in place, as well as some activities on my website, regiecollects.com. When it comes to some deals, I've actually executed 2. One of them was for a ton of Spawn books. And I mentioned this before that I have a deal in place with someone whereby whenever I find Spawn books, I can automatically offer them up to them at a set price. And so I was able to sell 83 Spawn and Curse of Spawn books that brought in $299 for those 83 comics. And again, like last time, there were no keys in there, but just really nice copies of some Spawn books. The second deal that I executed was for some Gen 13 and Alpha Flight books. Again, no major books were sold here, but that brought in roughly $32. Again, not including any kind of shipping. On the website, that's probably where I've had the most success as of late. Part of the reason for that is because it was Labor Day. And so I put some things out there on social media whereby which I was offering people an opportunity to save a couple of bucks when they purchase on the website, regiecollects.com. Several people have taken advantage of this already. The first deal, or the first sale, I should probably say, was for a Rocketeer comic. It's actually a square-bound Rocketeer issue number 1. That brought in $15. The second sale was more substantive. I actually have a couple of copies of Dark Hawk issue number 1 that are available on the site. This is one of the copies. I actually sold another 9.8, and that brought in a nice chunk of money. And then the very last sale, at least for today, was for a couple of really awesome books. The first one is this one right here. This is Amazing Spider-Man Annual issue number 16. Actually, I think I sent in and received 3 copies of this book. The 9.6 with white pages is actually staying in the collection, but this is a 9.4 with white pages, and this is the origin and first appearance of the new Captain Marvel, that being Monica Rambeau. This one has been sold, along with this book right here, a 9.6 of Batman 366. This is the first Jason Todd in his Robin costume. Really cool book. I had several copies of this one for sale. And in addition to these 2 books, the purchaser also picked up a copy of, I think it was Superman and Batman. I cannot remember what issue, but it was a raw copy of that. Just a couple of bucks with that one. But in total, between the sales that were made on the website and the deals that I made outside of the website, my grand total right now is $1,110, which is not bad. Mind you, Hulk #1 is really, really expensive, so we are going to continue trying to make some magic happen and chip away at that price tag for Hulk issue #1.